they'll probably be nitpicky and that sort of thing. I'm just kind of just going with the flow, pointing out anything I notice. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just giving you my thoughts on what I see. Also, the stream may or may not be intermittently interrupted by cat stuff because Orion is just being feisty this week. But yeah, so disclaimers over. Let's go jump into the course. We'll play. Yeah, we're gonna play from the back. That is two T's. Nothing wrong with that. Uh, just think that might be a very big range in between T's there. Nothing wrong with it. It's just like if you wanted to get this on tour, it makes it a little harder to dial the difficulty in. All right. Well, nicely framed hole off the first. Contouring looks solid. Bunker sculpting looks solid. I don't know. And this is just a very personal thing. The whole like fairway walkway with the light rough fringe around it just looks a little weird to my eye. I'd just make that like a I don't know, like just making that like a light rough thing where obviously they mow it and like there's a cut path there, but it's not like the same like perfectly manicured turf. The whole continuous fairway thing where it runs into the path, just it's always looked a little odd to my eye. Nothing wrong with it though. All right, we got a nice little three-tiered green here. Feels appropriate for the hole. Nice little kind of gettable par 5 off the opener. Might see if I can't play the slope a little bit, or I just hit it fast and blow it long. Get out of there. All right, 165. That's a good solid opening hole. All right. So, I like this hole. I think I see what'll probably be a theme for a lot of the rest of the course, which is going to be like this kind of sculpting. It's very very abrupt and it doesn't really look natural. There's a lot of like texture tearing and stuff. It looks, you know, like to me, if you're making cliffs and stuff, you want to use all those like really kind of crazy looking brushes on like the third page, kind of the rocky, spidery looking ones. That gives you a lot more natural looking slopes and stuff. That's just yeah that might be the you know it looks a little off. Like just very sudden and abrupt. It's way too clean to be anything natural. But yeah, like the rest of the environment I'm digging so far, and the course itself looks really solid. Ooh, hang in there. So far, all of the greens seem very appropriately sized, and the contouring is good. That seems to be the bugaboo for most of the folks in this contest. There's been lots of like contouring issues, greens that are way too big, greens that are way too small, that sort of thing throughout. So, I think this is kind of the this is a great one to point at so far. Of, here's how you make greens that that fit the holes that they're in. I think this one has a little bit of that same feel as the last one, where it feels very open and just a little empty. Like especially with Swiss, I think um you can dial the tree density up. I think that would go a long way to making this feel um I don't know, lived in's the wrong word, but less empty. Because it's just like with this much, like with the trees this kind of sparse, you'd have a lot more ground foliage and that sort of thing, which would just be a massive pain to plant. So you can kind of cheat that by just making the trees really thick, and then you can just kind of plant bushes and stuff on the edges so that you can't really see into it, and it'll give this illusion of like dense forests with all sorts of stuff in it. Yeah, this is an interesting whole concept. I think yeah, sculpting is just going to be the issue here. Um, I dig the backdrop here. I love the like the sun catching those trees and that sort of thing. Like that's a cool look. Um, like you have this plateau here with the T's. It's very very flat and it's huge, so you don't get to see any of that dramatic drop off, or really any of the hole at all. You just see here's the big teeing area, and that's all the look you get off this tee. So I think you could definitely utilize more of that really dramatic uh, backdrop that you've created for yourself visually by just sinking stuff down in front of the tee. But other than that, it's definitely a solid hole. I mean, after getting my butt kicked on the last one, something about this one agrees with me. Yeah, I think same kind of themes. The sculpting isn't quite there for me with the cliffs. This is closer though. They're a little more gradual. They don't have the same like just jarring 90-degree vertical face as the other ones. Though this one definitely feels a bit empty still. Because there's just so much like just empty space all out this way. Like you can definitely fill that in with some trees at the very least. Because it's just massive, perfectly flat, like open space. There's just there's you could definitely fill like this whole area in with. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's very sparse. Yeah, like again, solid idea, cool concept. The whole works, but it could definitely be brought to life a little bit with some uh, kind of skillful, well thought out planting. Yeah, I think it's a solid bunker as well. Um, yeah. Let's see. You did a great job with all the kind of the rapids and stuff. Like that looks really good. Like like I'd love to see a little bit more kind of stuff. Like this is a great example of how to plant like this little area. You've done a great job with the surroundings on this green. I'd like to see you do that more around the course. Yeah, and it's a well done job with the waterfall and stuff throughout. That's pretty awesome. Oh, hang in there. Well, that would be a dramatic OB shot. Let me hit a massive slice off the top of this waterfall. That'd be cool. Very solid hole. Yeah, I think same issue with this one. There's just a ton of open space that isn't really filled in. great whole concept. Just, to me, I'd almost have gone with the like I'd have just dialed the trees way up and just given them like a more enclosed foresty feel, because it spans the whole plot. Like it's not a very it's not a very dense tight course. It's just spread all over the place. There's just a lot of nothing around it, so it just ends up feeling very empty. I mean, you can definitely do an open course and make it work, but I think if you don't have a lot of planting to kind of block sight lines, you have to make up for it with like sculpting and stuff. And obviously the sculpting around here is great. It's just that you smoothed out a lot of it. So it's just like, okay, here's this nice big flat smooth area. Like, this is a great planting area here. This is kind of what I mean. This one, you filled in the whole area in front of the hole, that sort of thing. You could probably raise that green a bit. It kind of sits really like close to the water, and I'm assuming that bunker is above water level, but it looks like it's below water level, so it just kind of looks a little unnatural there. See, obviously, like you've got the planting chops here. Uh, I'd like to see that utilized more consistently throughout the course. I don't know where this play is coming from. We're just tearing this one apart. It's not an easy course. It's been very fair so far, but I guess I'm just on all of a sudden. Yeah, same thing. It's so very open here. It needs something. Also, all the trees that this one does have are all like right on the left side, so you have this kind of stripy shadows all the way down the length of the hole. I'd kind of probably break that up, and so you don't have to have trees. Why am I struggling with the camera so much? Um, you don't have to have all these trees that like a uniform distribution. You can have some kind of open spots so you can see a little bit more of the hole. Yeah, but I like the green complex. Bunker looks good. It's a solid hole. Oh, fast. This will get interesting. No, or it'll just be good. That works too. Well, let's see if we can keep the birdie streak alive. Of course, now that I've noticed it. Oh, we will. Yeah. So I'm almost going to say, now that we noticed it, now that we're trying to keep it up, now I'm just going to par out from here and shoot -7. But, yeah. Yeah, same theme here. Great whole idea. The hole itself is great. It just kind of feels empty. Very solid, though. We'll hang in there. Thank you, Jive. Oh, am I going to get lucky here, too? Nope. Alright, now it's bogey time. It's going to get real interesting. Yep. It was fun while it lasted. It was a good run. Still, it's going to be what, like a 30 front nine? That's not bad. This is kind of an easy one to review because it's just kind of one or two issues throughout the course pretty consistently. And then everything else is solid, so I don't really have to point much out. It's just kind of that, yeah, It feels a little empty, and the cliffs aren't quite there for me. But yeah, solid hole concept. Sculpting and everything's done well on it. Might be going a little fast, or a lot fast. Suppose you could probably sprinkle a little bit more elevation change in your holes. They've been pretty flat so far, and for a plot that has, like, it's funny. There's a little bit of a theme with this one and Beaker Mountain, the last one. They both have a very similar feel. Like they're both got this kind of stout championship course feel. They're both a little like, you know, lacking a little bit of micro sculpting on a great like macro sculpting plot. Oh, this definitely has the green contours that I was looking for in the last one. It's just that the hole itself, like, none of the greens sit above, like they never sit up on any pads. I guess there was one or two that sat nicely on a little elevated pad, or even like a downhill shot into a green. It's like into a bowl or something. Like there's just been a lot of greens that sit perfectly flush with their surroundings. Where it's like this one, it's like okay, the fairway's big, open, and flat, and then you hit to a flat green that's at the pretty much the exact same elevation. A well sculpted green, but like I definitely like you can keep that green contouring, but then change the rest of the elevation around it into a back to front slope. Like that would make the bunker in front pop, and you could kind of almost incorporate the green a little bit into a bigger slope into the water there. Pin might be no, it's legal. It's just a little. It's just pushing it a touch, but that's a legal pin. Oh, that's a terrible shot. And it might be bogey time again. And this might be a bit of a dicey green. At least a pin location. It's a little dicey. Yeah, so Deacon, if you're still in the chat, like these are a perfect example, I think, of what I would love to see, or what I would have loved to have seen from the greens on your course. Like it's the same kind of feel, but the greens are definitely very exciting. Yeah, I think a little bit of like elevation change, in the hole itself also gives you the opportunity to um, show off your shots a little bit. Like this could be a really dramatic look, but since it's all pretty flat, you don't really see anything from your approach shot. Like that's a perfect opportunity to give the player a dramatic looking shot and show off some of the work you did, but you can't really quite see any of it without zooming in. Yeah, and this is kind of the same thing. So it's a little flush to the water, and that island is very, very flat and a little big for the green. Like it's one of those where that island doesn't really fit that green shape, and there's just all this kind of dead space around the green. So it doesn't, like the retaining wall is well done. It's all very clean. Like, this has the potential to be, you know, a very memorable hole and just, a great signature moment. And it just doesn't quite have that pop that it could have. It's very solid. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but, you know, it's a good hole now, but it could be absolutely spectacular with just a couple small changes. Oh, that was a putt. Get out of there. My cat is incredibly insistent on wanting to get behind my computer for reasons I cannot fathom. I guess maybe because it's warm back there. I don't know. But he likes to just sit and clog the fan, and just and nibble on the wires. Like, get out. Also, it makes noise, and he likes noise. It's interesting to him. Well, that's going to be long. Yes, I need to find out where his USB port is. I keep trying to stick it in his butthole, but he doesn't like that. Yeah, this is a very open hole. There's just like a ton of this open space and not a lot in it. Solid playable hole, but like this one's a little bit of a miss visually. Especially it's like it has the signature hole lighting. Like, this is, to me, it's like this is the lighting that you give like the most interesting dramatic hole in your course because it absolutely pops. And and I feel like it's a missed opportunity of like this is a stage to build an awesome hole on, and it's just kind of this flat standard par three without anything really around it. Wow, this might be my fastest playthrough so far. I'm probably gonna finish this in under a half hour. It helps that I have so much less shots, and there's only a couple really things to nitpick on this one. It's been incredibly solid throughout, just missing a couple things that would bump it up to that next level. But it's been a fun one to play. I think I've only had a couple very minor like playability issues. Everything else has just been like presentation and making it pop. But yes, being completely honest, I like this one. I think this one will probably go pretty far in the contest, purely based on like the playability is there, or more importantly, because there's such an emphasis on cleanliness, or and doing like getting the basics right. This does all of those things very very well. I think it'll do very well like up until just the very end, where I think it'll get beat by a handful of courses that do all of those things and also kind of present it in a little bit more of a dramatic fashion. This one's like so very close to being up there in that top little group. It like just quite falls or just falls short to me. But this is a really really solid effort. Like I definitely enjoyed playing it, and the fact that I finished this in 25 minutes means I really just didn't have that much to say about it. It's just a handful of things that they could probably use throughout, but really really solid course. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for making it. Thanks for entering the contest, and yeah, let's just keep this thing rolling. I think I could do one or two more. Um, we'll just cut the stream here. Uh, so, for folks in the chat, I'll be back in just a minute. So yeah, let's see. Yep. All right. Just end it now. Thanks again.